Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. I'm going to start the video here, or live stream, I should say, in a little bit. Hope you guys all had a wonderful weekend. Hope it was good. Long 3-day weekend for us traders, with yesterday being a holiday. Let me check the chat in here, make sure everything's good. Good morning, Oki. Good morning, Kish Vlogs, ICT Trading Fan. Will, good morning. Stuart. Min, Rain, Crazy. Harris, good to see you in here. Master Dewan. There's some names I can't pronounce, so forgive me. Muhammad, Mantis, Dante, FL, Kangaroo, good morning. Everybody, if everybody can like the video, I'd appreciate it. Make sure we got 133. If everybody can like the video that's watching right now, I'd appreciate it. Basically all we need. Once we get to 100 likes, then everything can basically take care of itself. Good morning from France. Good morning from the U.S. Thank you for liking it. Appreciate it. Accidental, good to see you. Guten Morgen. Trader Tom, Jake, Tina, Murphy, Jimmy. Crazy. That's alright. Yeah, just take 1 second to like the video. That's all I ask. Ugh. To be honest with you, I'm a little tired today. But I try to get through it. Awesome, awesome. Just give me 1 second and I'll be back. I'll put the music back on. I just need to get water. I had my mic muted. Alright. Let me know if you guys can see the screen here. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. For those just tuning in, if you can like the video. Chair Tom, yeah, I had a good weekend. Hope you all had a good weekend. Finally was able to drop that beginner's course. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I know for most of you, obviously you're more experienced in intermediate and you're learning, so it's not going to be as useful to you, but definitely if you have people that are asking you how to learn how to trade, I think it's a good place to start, for sure. It's not an end-all be-all or something that's going to, only thing they need to watch. I think there's a lot of things that somebody needs to watch, but definitely if that was the first thing they watched, I don't think it's a terrible Terrible thing. All right, you can see the screen. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so what was that, Sunday? I did a weekly forecast. I was pretty on I was neutral, right? I didn't really have a bias. There wasn't enough information for me to really make a hardline decision. Even so, moving into today, off of yesterday, I don't have an extremely clear bias. I have some things that moved overnight as far as dollar index. Roberto, all time frames. If I'm looking at entries, then probably a 15-5 minute time frame. I just want to take a look at dollar index real quick. I'm not in a rush to do anything this morning or today. But dollar index is really dropping off heavily in here, which I annotated on Sunday that was a possibility, and I wasn't, concerned with that idea. I could possibly be seeing lower index futures and lower dollar index. So that's a decoupled, in terms of intermarket relationships, that's a decoupled market. And I don't normally do that. I don't normally trade like that. But technically NQ would be telling me to go lower. So I would probably have to look at the idea of trading in a decoupled market, which I don't want to do, but there's going to be times where that happens, and you've seen that through the last couple weeks. So technically, the reason I'm saying that is technically just looking at NQ. If I looked at nothing else, it would suggest lower prices, but that's the way I see it right now. And dollar index is obviously dropping off lower, so I have to lean on that idea. I believe that dollar indexes want to gravitate towards these relative equal lows, which are resting down here. So I was annotating on Sunday how if dollar index started to trade through, especially on the daily time frame, there was this inefficiency in here, this fair value gap. If we start trading through it, attacking these lows, then I was basically canning the idea that we were going to continue overall higher, which is fine. If you're able to adjust and switch your bias with logical, real reason, there's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't mean you're a bad analyst. Doesn't mean that that idea was wrong. I mean, obviously it was wrong, but how should I put it? I mean, you just shouldn't put a lot of emphasis on whether you got something right or wrong in terms of analytically looking at it. I mean, if you didn't take a trade on the idea, if you didn't execute on the idea, I don't find it really a bad reason. I mean, if that makes sense. So we have this inefficiency in here. Now, just because there's a fair value gap in here doesn't mean price is going to react off of it. You have to look at the narrative, the bias. We've traded up into higher time frame. Sunday I covered the monthly, weekly, daily inefficiencies up here. We've taken out buy side liquidity, dropping lower, attacking sell side, and then these relative equal lows I think are way too clean. I think that's what price is going to want to target. So I'm curious to see how index futures pair up with this. I mean, I have to keep in mind that if dollar index really wants to drop off lower, then we might see higher prices in index futures. So be aware of that. That's the reason why I'm covering it. Looking at NQ just technically and not using anything else in terms of intermarket relationships, we could see possible lower prices. Again, the weekly doesn't give me a whole lot of information currently. If I was to look at the weekly time frame, it's what we do every single week. If I was to look at it and say, all right, where could I see this unfolding? Where could I see the weekly candle unfolding to? And currently, nothing really screams either side, to be honest with you. I can make a call for either side. I could see us trading down into this inefficiency here. I could also see price trading higher. There's going to be weeks and times like this one especially. I could easily have predicted the open, where we're going to set the low of the week, and where we're going to expand. So you have to look at the weekly time frame and the weekly candlestick and at least try to visualize, how it would look, because then you can get in sync potentially with what that's going to unfold like. So we just opened up. Again, I'm not super eager to do something. We're coming off a holiday volume, so have to be aware of that as well. So hopefully that makes sense so far. If price was to drop lower, this volume imbalance here on the daily time frame would be probably my focus if we do drop off lower. Again, being in a decoupled market with dollar index, it would make me a little less confident to call shorts on NQ. I have to be aware of that. I mean, again, we're still in a bullish dealing range. We're still from this low up to that high. We're still dropping down on this discount. So price could expand higher again. Just have to see with time. But the 4-hour, 1-hour order flow, when I'm looking at it, to me, I don't see higher prices. So it's a little bit conflicting. If you look at the 4-hour, again, what is it respecting? What is it not respecting? Well, we're no longer respecting bullish PD areas. We dropped lower. We had a shift to market structure last week. Kind of engineering liquidity in here. You can see last night dropped off lower. One-hour time frame. Fair value gap in here. This one there. We dropped down into, call this a bullish order block. So we may get a reaction off of that. With dollar index going higher, I mean, I would probably lean on the idea of wanting to take a long over a short, to be honest with you. I just have to see a lot of evidence to do so. So let's drop down some lower time frames. Welcome everybody who's tuning in. If you can like the video, I'd appreciate it. Hope you guys all had a good weekend. I know some are late tuning in. So what I'm kind of looking at when I look at like a 15, a 5-minute, we have, this is our current new week opening gap. This is an old new week opening gap down there. There are some relative equal highs up here. Not incredibly clean. We've already taken that buy side out. But if we do want to expand higher, I mean, that's something I would be keying off. Again, we're waiting for silver bullet. I'm waiting for the time. I want to see what price is looking like by the time I get to the silver bullet. What is price trying to reach for by that time? I think if you're uncertain about price and where price should go, time will always help you. And look at this 4-hour. I mean, these are, even though we've taken out these lows on CPI last week, these are all relatively equal, right? So there's a lot of sell side that's resting underneath here. I think it's relatively too clean. It's probably going to want to get cleaned up. So I'm going to lean on that idea for now. Again, it's contradicting with the idea of dollar index moving lower as well, but again, you can trade into a coupled market. It's just a little bit harder to predict and trade on signed with. It's not something I prefer, but if that's something I have to do, then obviously I'm going to do it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Cheryl. Emmanuel, good morning. Mohammed, Luis. Seek a destroy day likely. It could happen. I mean, off of holiday volume. But you know, by the silver bullet, I'd probably know if we're in seek a destroy or not. I'll probably have a better understanding of what price is trying to do by then. So hopefully that makes sense as far as what I'm looking at and those type of things. If a short model forms today or something looks appealing to me, then I would be looking at particularly, it's all that sell side, but particularly this low here from the 13th of last week, right? Yeah. So that's what I'd be looking at overall. If I was to go short today, this would be my focus. In the 15-minute time frame, this thing's a mess. This is sloppy. It's not something I would want to be inside of. Reason for that is, I mean, just look at basic market structure. I mean, we've made new lower lows, lower highs. We're spiking up higher again. I mean, we're reclaiming this area of inefficiency. I don't really look at market structure like that. There's a lot of ways to look at market structure, but I'm trying to just give you the easiest way of looking at it in terms of why I think this is a mess. I mean, you could trade higher, you could trade lower, or see that. Let's see in here if there's a couple of inefficiencies. Yeah, market structure shifts are a again, it's very subjective, and B, you could have a 15-minute market structure shift, but on a daily time frame, you're in a bullish overall trend, and that will just overseed it anyway, so it'll take over. So I don't really look at I rarely ever look at shift in market structure, to be honest with you. I rarely ever do. I look at where's my draw on liquidity, what's the narrative for the day, is there a energetic displacement towards that draw on liquidity, is there a model that forms, a multiplier that forms going into that into that draw on liquidity. Those things are more important. If you're looking at shifts in market structure, I think you're going to get lost. I think that they're very subjective, and if you're not looking at parent order flow, if you're not looking at those type of things, it's going to take it over anyways. I think the easiest way is to look at, okay, where's my focus for today? Well, right now my focus is at 17,542. That's my focus. So if I can see an energetic displacement that starts moving towards that draw on liquidity, it forms some type of fair value gap, whether it's in a premium, whether it's not, whatever it may be, then I could look to target that. I don't need to see shifts in market structure. All I need to see is energetic displacements towards a draw on liquidity that is paired with narrative, that's paired with time, that's paired with intermarket relationships. So this is the 1 hour. This is the inefficiency here. I know there's a couple things on here, but this is the old new week opening gap and the current new week opening gap. Look how we traded right up into it. We traded beautifully up into that current new week opening gap and displacing off a lower. Again, if you were to look at shifts in market structure, I mean, this thing would be, you'd be looking at, oh, we printed a new high, and they're just too much. Again, I'm looking at liquidity, energetic displacements. It's the easiest way I can put it for a student, I guess. Drop down here. Welcome everybody who's tuning in. If you could like the video, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already. Looks like we're going to want to attack this low from overnight, or at least pre-session. If it trades to my draw on liquidity before the silver bullet, I feel nothing. Right? It's part of our rules. I sit still. I wait for time. If it trades outside of my particular time, my particular set of rules, and the things I've given myself, then it's not a mistrade. There's a huge difference, right? We've talked about this plenty of times before. It's forging discipline. It's forging that idea of sitting on your hands, doing nothing until your model says to do something. You start coloring outside the lines that are already dictated for you. That's when you start making mistakes. You start messing up. Just looking at a 1 minute time frame, I know, why is this so small? Here we go. Beautiful reaction off of that new week opening gap. Even the old new week opening gap lending beautiful support. Yes, Sarah, it has an inverse correlation to dollar index. Which, I mean, there's going to be times where it's decoupled, so dollar index is dropping lower right now, and same with index futures. But I kind of was already leaning on that idea before I came into the session today. Technically, that NQ was telling me to look at lower prices, so I just kind of had to lean on that idea. What I'm looking at right now is the RTH gap. Sorry. For some reason it's not showing in here. But this is the liquidity void, but this is the actual open. Again, if you feel some type of way about price trading off lower right now, I mean, it is what it is. I don't have any feelings towards it. Even though I could see price drawing to this drawn liquidity, it's not inside my rules yet. So yeah, there is an RTH, but I mean, it's already been filled in, so it's not something I'm going to really heavily utilize right now. So again, to reiterate, I mean, this is the drawn liquidity. This low here, particularly, those are relatively clean lows in there. Okay, when we're looking at higher time frames, what was the order flow? What was it doing? This inefficiency in here, we traded off beautifully away from it. Even daily time frame, I think it's pretty clear in here that, again, we're going to want to seek what's the next discount array. What's something that will price on the daily time frame, that which is the parent. What is it going to want to seek and draw towards? Well, at least the closest thing I can look at is that volume balance. If we get underneath the volume balance, then I'm looking at that low, and then I'm looking at the rest of this inefficiency that has not been filled in yet. So I'm getting my guide, I'm getting my roadmap, my GPS from the daily and the weekly. And then you go into lower time frames, and that's when you can start driving the vehicle towards the destination. Sometimes there's trees in the road, sometimes there's bumps, sometimes there's potholes, etc. Ricardo, why didn't you enter off that new week opening gap? Because it's not part of my rule set. It's not part of my rules. It's not something that I'm trading within. Yeah, there's a huge difference. Newer traders will never be able to understand that, and I get it. Like, it's something that I think most people struggle with, is when you're able to see something where price is going to, but yet it's not within your own rules, and you don't enter on it. People see that and they say, well, why didn't you do that? I don't understand. Because on the contrary to all of that is, if I do things outside of my system, I do things outside of my discipline, that's going to create errors in the long term. I'm going to start doing things that my system told me not to do. There's going to be exceptions to the rule where you can see a draw on liquidity, you can see where price is going, there's an entry pattern, you didn't enter on it because it wasn't maybe not in the right time, or maybe it wasn't your entry, but maybe it wasn't your multiplier, maybe it wasn't a fair value gap or breaker, whatever it is. If you start just doing whatever all the time, you're never going to have any consistency. And to a newer trader, you can't really fathom that. You can't understand it because it just doesn't make any sense to you. But as you go down this path, obviously it'll make more sense to you because you understand that discipline is key to everything, and having that consistency. You're not going to be able to trade everything all the time, regardless if you can see something. Discipline is a bitch. It's not something that's easily, obviously attainable, and B, it's not something easy to deal with all the time. There's a lot of times where you're going to see price move to a certain place you saw, and you're not participating. It's normal. You need to trade multiple players or one. I mean, I would just focus on one asset class. I only focus on one asset class. I don't think you need to be trading multiple things. Oki. I mean, again, it's a lot of time, a lot of losses, a lot of lessons learned. Journaling is very, very important. I mean, you can read all the psychology books in the world. You can, take as many losses in the world, but if you're not journaling, if you're not figuring out how to improve yourself, then you're never going to obviously improve. You're never going to make those adjustments and the things you need to do well. So journaling is very important. You have to take it very serious. And again, journaling is not fun. That's not something I enjoy. There's a lot of parts of this trading process that I hate, that I don't enjoy at all. I don't like journaling. Obviously, I don't like taking losses. I don't like, sitting out when price is not in my favor, when it's not part of my discipline and rules. There's a lot of parts that are really boring and not fun, but you have to take the good with the bad. I mean, the other part, Oki, is just simply listening to somebody like myself or reading, third-party psychology books. What made me think dollar was bottom out? I mean, just was no longer respecting bullish PD raise, and I could see that we were trading in the sell side. So to me, it seemed like the appropriate decision to make. With the sell side, again, if you're looking at just simply where's liquidity, where is it resting, there's pretty clear liquidity on dollar index lower. Thank you, Justin. Will, yeah, I definitely agree. Thank you. So we've gotten underneath this inefficiency here. Let me make this a little bit better. Yeah, again, I mean, everybody has their own particular set of rules and things that they follow. And you're going to see somebody do something one day where it works for them and it doesn't work for you. And that's where you have to focus on your own paper. You can't look at, I'm not talking in terms of money, I'm talking about like, a test. You can't look to the person to the right of you or the left of you and try to, compare yourself, because somebody's model may work for them and it may not work for you. You have to understand that everything's so personalized in trading. There's going to be days where something really works out for you and it doesn't work out for them. So again, I'm never looking at somebody else and saying, on a day where I didn't take anything, I'm judging myself. Like that, you start to mature and you start to realize like everybody's so different, and you have to understand that. And that's where I get irritated with people in the chat, especially if they're newer. It's like you don't understand how personalized and how unique your own self is, and especially when I'm trying to teach and give my own opinion. It's so uniquely to yourself. It's so customized to yourself. And if you don't understand that, obviously, it's going to be difficult for you to grasp that. Scholar only one. I've answered that already. Bishop. Yeah. Arnold, it's called the ICT, higher time frame candle indicator. So it's right there. Will, amazing here. That's my favorite thing. I get more excited over that than somebody telling me they, just passed a challenge or something. If you're just tuning in, I'd appreciate it if you'd like the video. Share it if you can. I appreciate that message, Oki. Yeah, we are. We very much are. And I try to respect that to everybody. That's why I don't ever really attack anybody on social media or try to go after anybody, because I understand that we're all extremely unique. I mean, people that are in competitions, I mean, I get it, especially like ICT, but everybody's having a, pardon my language, but a dick measuring game of, if you're all profitable, I mean, who really cares, to be honest? But, I made this much percent, I made this more than you. It's like, bro, we're all here to make money and try to escape really modern day slavery, in my opinion. Like, I don't care if you made 10 more percent than me. What does that really matter, man? As we roll into the silver bullet here, the macro, I'm sorry, the silver bullet macro. So this is before the silver bullet. So 950 to 1010. I believe we're going to run for the sell side in here. Do I really particularly care? Not really. I could shorten here, but I just don't. I don't want to short at this low of a discount, nor is the risk to reward really that well. Again, if I'm ever framing a setup, I'm framing the risk to reward. I'm seeing how much juice can be really squeezed out of it. And I mean, at this point, if I was to enter in the market, let's say at this first punch up into price, my stop loss would have to be here, at least above that high, which is about 35 handles or so. I could go for 54. It's not the greatest thing in the world. So I'll just let it pass by me. I mean, you've seen ICT do that even last week. It's such a level of confidence in knowing that there's so many setups throughout a week that I could execute on, and if something's really not in my liking, then I'm just not going to execute on it. Phil God, hello, first time here, welcome. Appreciate you. Do you only trade the silver bullet? Yeah. I mean, let's just say for the live stream, I only trade the silver bullet. Yes. Can I anticipate an IOFED? Yeah, I can. Throughout time and repetition, I think that's the best way, is just through pattern recognition of anticipating something like that. I mean, if you see large displacements, something that's very quick, and you see a draw on liquidity, you see that price is in a hurry to get there, you can start anticipating IOFEDs. So the sell side's about to be traded to here. To me, it just means nothing. I mean, I know my older self. I'm trying to put myself in a lot of people's shoes. I would be very upset and be like, man, I didn't execute on that. I wasn't part of the move. But over journaling and you start like reprogramming yourself, you start congratulating yourself on these things. Like, all right, cool, I got the bias correct. I called price to where I wanted it to. To execute upon it, no, it wasn't really within my rules. It's fine. It's a job well done. Like, if you start doing that in your journal, you start annotating those certain things where you used to be frustrated, you used to be upset. You start correcting those mental flaws and those things. I would be pissed off at my younger self, like, man, I didn't catch this entire thing. I wasn't a part of it. I could see where it was going. It's like, man, there wasn't anything in here for me to execute on. Yeah, some people are going to sit here and say, you could have executed here. It's like, okay, it's not part of my rules, so. Market's not in sync. Yeah, I mean, from what I've learned from the last few weeks, especially talking with, it's going to sound like I'm bragging, but I was talking to ICT personally. I've talked about this before already. I'd asked him about this situation with why I'm being decoupled, and he said for the most part, he's like, if you're experienced, mainly if you're intraday trading, look at NQ and ES. And that's really helped me over the last kind of couple weeks here, is YM's been decoupled for the most part, so I put majority of my focus the last 2 weeks on NQ and ES and only paying attention to them and only paying attention to their focus, like what they're doing. And for the most part, that's helped me analyze a little bit better. How many years have how many years have I been trading? 6 years. What was your biggest learning curve going from Forex to futures? Nothing really, to be honest with you. I mean, maybe just in terms of SMT and looking at the other indexes, and maybe the open. There's no open in Forex, but in futures there is. You're looking forward to fill the weekly fair value gap. I mean, possibly. We'll see. Andreas, again, I would have to see how price trades after the sell side is taken. Can this move down be a Judas swing? Yeah, and it very well could be. I don't know for a fact. I mean, the bias to me today is looking for lower prices, so I'm not looking for higher prices. I don't. Just because price opens up a different way or opens up like this doesn't, it doesn't classify that as a Judas swing. You could just keep trading off lower the whole day. And I don't. If I had to make a case, if I was to look at this and say, all right, if I was bullish, where would I be buying off of? Well, I don't see anywhere for price to retrace into. Again, last week, if I was to maintain higher prices, it should have already done. We should have gravitated higher last week. To drop lower on Friday was a huge tell to me that I don't think we're going to continue higher on a long-term time frame. And where are you getting your direction, your roadmap, your destination, GPS, whatever you want to call it? It's from your daily, your weekly, and your monthly. These things are guiding you. They are your sole reliance on where price is going. You can't just look at a 5-minute time frame, a 15-minute time frame, a 1-minute time frame, and try to figure out where price is going. I don't care what anybody says. You need to look at these things. You need to understand what these time frames are doing because it's going to guide you. If you can figure out where these are going and you get yourself in sync with that destination, wherever it's going, and you place yourself in the right time with a model, whatever it is, not super advanced, could be super simple cookie cutter model, your odds of winning are pretty damn high. It's really not that damn complicated. Again, today we're looking for lower prices into this low. How did I know that? Well, the daily time frame does not look like it wants to trade off higher. We want to trade into this low. If we get underneath this low, where's the next thing? Next thing would be this volume imbalance on the daily time frame. That's the parent. All these other time frames are children. They will submit to this time frame. They're going to bend the knee to the daily, the weekly, the monthly. So everything else on those lower time frames, I'm going to be looking for those lower time frames to trade into this parent inefficiency. Again, just because there's a Judah swing on a lower time frame does not automatically just validate the idea for you to go long. What does these higher time frames suggest? If you're not looking at this, if you're not figuring out what they're doing, then you're just blind. You're just walking around anywhere, running anywhere, doing anything. I mean, I'll talk about this over and over and over again. And nobody particularly triggered me to say this. It's just something that I'm very passionate about. Anytime I talk about this, I'm very much heated about it because nobody talks about it. Rant over with. Sorry. But hopefully that makes sense. I mean, I say all these things because it simplifies it in your mind. It's really not as hard as you're making it. And when you're looking at these profiles and these people that are saying Judah swing after the open, it's like, well, dude, you need to pair that with narrative. If that doesn't agree or align, then there's no point of just calling a Judah swing or some reverse model, whatever it may be. I'm all on board on price going lower rather. Yeah, Kimberly. Throughout the years, how useful or not useful have you found standard deviations? I've talked about this before. Personally, I don't use them. I mean, I'll use them from time to time. I know exactly what they are, how to utilize them. But again, standard deviations are just a projection. Like, oh, price could go here. It could go to this extension, this standard deviation, or it could not. I look at drawing liquidity, inefficiencies in price over standard deviations. If I don't have something I can work with, then I'll use standard deviations. But price is not moving off of standard deviations. It's moving off of liquidity and inefficiencies. So what would be the higher probability to target? In a inefficiency / liquidity or a standard deviation? I would argue the inefficiencies in liquidity. Love to hear that, Kimberly. So this, the reason I have it orange is it's a inversion. So what do? We close beneath this inefficiency. So that becomes an inversion, right? Trade back up into the CE of it. Since then we've been dropping lower. You have to remember, we're moving off a holiday. Technically, today is a Monday, right? If you're just looking at the week. I'm not a huge fan of Mondays. I'm not trying to push price in the beginning of the week. There's multiple reasons for that. I'm not trying to spend mental capital. I'm not trying to spend actual capital in the beginning of the week. I'm not trying to make back money throughout the entire week. So I'm very careful. I'm very tedious on a Monday. I know it's a Tuesday, but I'm classifying it as a Monday. Cheryl, make sure you have your settings adjusted. Unless my screen's not clear, but I believe it would be on your end. So we have YM trading higher. Again, I'm not paying too much attention to it. There's the sell side taken. And just because that's taken doesn't mean that the day's over with. If I still think there's more to be squeezed out of the day, then I'll look for something. So that makes sense to what we were doing before the open, what I was looking at. I think that was fairly easy to look at and see. So from here, after that terminus has been reached, anytime you have a terminus means like a objective, right? If I have a place where price is already traded to, like I have my goal, my objective, it's reached. Either A, I'm saying, all right, that's it, I'm done, because I can't see any further movement past that. If I can see something further for the day, and I'm looking particularly at time, we just moved into the silver bullet, so I do have plenty of time left. I'm going to look at other price points to see, all right, where could it trade it, to? So the most recent low and to price proximity wise would be this low in here from February 2nd. That's south side, so I'd be looking at that. And really the only other low would be down here from January 31st. So I'd be looking at these lows down here. So right now, price is telling me that the order flow, the narrative is lower prices. So what am I doing? I'm not looking to capture a long in here. I'm not trying to counter trade this. I'm trying to be in sync with price. I'm trying to go overall short with it. Again, what is narrative? How do you work with it? I just explained it. And this is how easy it is to look on Twitter and on social media for those who are newer to the scene. And I mean, I could sit here and call draws and liquidity all day. That's super easy, man. I could do that. I could run laps around people doing that. But trading into it and managing that trade, taking partials, protecting yourself, I mean, that's a whole different arena. So people that, call draws and liquidity, it's nothing special to me, man. I could do that all day long. I know for like somebody who's just getting into the concepts, it's very cool to see. I'm not taking that away or the significance of it, but once you get advanced, I mean, this happens over and over every day. I can call places where price is going. It's really not that fascinating to me. Trading into it is another ballpark. What am I trying to do here? It's a good question, actually. So yes and no. I mean, if this helps in your mind, you could look at it as a reclaimed area. But do you see how there's still this pocket of price open? I mean, yes, we've traded up into it once before and then ran through it. But you see how this is still relatively, that's an open area of inefficiency. So I'm just looking at it as if it's like a fair value gap. If this helps in your mind, just think of it as a reclaimed area. Price is going to want to trade to that reclaimed area. It's a good question. I enjoy good questions. So what would, on a 4-hour time frame, what would be the other kind of area I'm looking at? Well, we have this pocket of inefficiency that has not yet been traded into. So from that high down to this low, it's still open. So any discount areas, price, we're going to want to mark that out. Andreas, if we slept by center, what is 17? I mean, possibly, yes. Yeah, correct. Accidental. I kind of knew that going into this session. I kind of knew that things were going to be decoupled. It's kind of some adjustments I made in my journal is being able to work within a decoupled market. Yeah, correct, but it's still an area of inefficiency. It still can be traded to. You can extend volume bounces out. What's decoupled? Well, dollar index is trading lower alongside NASDAQ and ES, and then YM is not moving in sync with ES or NQ. Andreas, I have a video on my YouTube channel called Charter Member Models that explains all my models. I've gone over them before. I'm very happy I made that video because I do get a lot of questions over my models. Which, I mean, they're not rocket science. They're not. Again, a model is just a model. It's not an end-all be-all. I mean, understanding narrative, higher time frame, intermarket relationships, managing yourself, your risk management, all those things are. I mean, you have to combine that with a model. Otherwise, it's useless. Would you enter short? Yeah, I just discussed that. I mean, if I think that there's enough time left in the day and I think that price can reach for lower objectives, even after my terminus has been reached, then I will consider, you know, keeping on with the short buys. I don't see a reason, you know, unless you know, price just traded it. Let's say this happened at the end of the silver bullet. There was not enough time left in the day. I don't think price can move any further for the rest of the day. Then that's it. Is there any reason why you chose not to use the daily candle's sentiment price as the close of a daily? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Christian. I don't know what you're referring to. Arnold, I appreciate that. Harris, I hope your son utilizes that. Yeah, it was a pretty straightforward course. I mean, I really tried my best not to make it as clickbait. Like, I actually put a lot of thought and emphasis. I mean, it took me like 2 months to put together. Andreas, yep, so that's where, again, what did I just talk about? Basically, rant on about narrative. Narrative is going to tell you whether price is sweeping a low or not. Is it fitting within the narrative? Again, if you're just wishy-washy on everything, like, oh, it could go higher today, it could go lower, I don't really know. I'll just trade whatever it's doing. Then you're just a feather in the wind. You're getting blown around from one side or the other, trading everything you can. What is the narrative? What is price seeking? Okay. If you could figure that out, then you can really start to refine. All right, is this a valid sweep on liquidity? Is this a valid market structure shift? Is this a valid fair value gap? Higher time frames are the parent. Everything's going to be submitting to the higher time frame. If I saw higher prices on the higher time frame and then we swept liquidity sell side, then yes, I'd be looking at higher prices. I'd be looking for this thing to reverse. But I'm not going to just catch a falling knife, especially in a bearish narrative. There's no reason to do so. I got you, Harris. Yeah, I mean, again, whenever anybody's time is to arrive to these concepts, or if they're meant for trading, they'll do it. Can't really force it upon anybody. Yeah, I mean, I have these on because particularly ICT has stated that he does this. I mean, that topic right there in discussion it's a large one. Having adjustment in the settlement prices on or off. I mean, this is the way I have my charts. Have you ever taken a live swing trade? No. I mean, I'm just intraday trade. I guess I know what you're saying. I was gonna say I'm not gonna send a live stream for 12 hours. I can't even swing trade on my futures account. It doesn't even won't allow that. Nor do I really want to swing trade. It's not my particular style. Hell yeah, Harris. Yeah. Again, he's a young man. When I was in high school, that was the last thing I was thinking about. Natalie, I appreciate that. If that's how you pronounce your name. Hamza, that's just up to your particular style. I mean, Nico, no, I don't swing trade. I used to do that my first couple years, but I've moved away from that. Again, my style has changed drastically throughout the years. Would you consider S&P between Nasdaq and S&P now? I don't know why I found that capitalization funny. Yeah, again, S&P to me, it's got to agree with a lot of things as well. I mean, just because there's S&P, you have to look at the narrative. Just because there's a bullish S&P doesn't mean that price is now bullish. Does the higher time frame suggest that? Does, where's the liquidity resting? There's a lot of different criteria. And everything that you use basically from ICT to me, it's like narrative is gonna help you guide everything that you're looking at. SMT, your models, everything. I mean, Francis, yeah, but again, to me, the narrative is lower prices. So just because there's buy side above us doesn't mean we're going to run to it. The narrative to me is lower prices. So that's where, to me, it's just like people teach so incorrectly. I'm not saying you, Francis, but just in general. Do I see anything in here that I would be particularly wanting to take? No. That's why you just see me talking. The reason for that is we've already reached underneath the sell side. We've made a significant new low. So we're trading inside of basically a fresh new discount. So I don't want to be taking a trade down here. It's my particular style. I'm not trying to chase price in here. I don't really want to do that, quote unquote. If there is some type of retracement back into a short-term premium, aka back into this 15-minute inefficiency or even like a 5-minute, I may be willing to. I may just keep trading off lower, and I just have to kind of let that go. And I'm not a huge fan of Mondays or like a Tuesday off a holiday volume. I don't know the particular weekly profile. I'm not trying to push today. I'm content with it. If I see something, then yes, I'm going to execute on it. For those wondering that are here just for signals. Do I use HRL and LRL and premium discount much? Yes. OT Trader, what's up, brother? Thank you. I appreciate it. You as well. What was it? Yeah, I know dollar index is starting to move. Man, I mean, you guys have been through the ringer with Forex this year, so I mean, you guys deserve it. Forex has been a nightmare. Let me look at GU. What is GU? GU is still nasty, man. Man, I can't wait. If something lines up this year to where I could live stream trading Euro, man, I mean, when Euro's moving, Euro's so much fun to trade. I love Forex. What's the difference between RTH gap and opening gap? They're the same thing, just different terms. I mean, I shouldn't say that. It depends how you utilize it. I mean, there's a new day opening gap. There's a new day opening gap. Some people call it an opening gap. From yesterday's close to today's open, per se, there could be a gap in price. But ICT is labeled RTH gap, regular trading hours, and opening range gap. I mean, they're just basically the same thing. Just different terms. Again, professional, that's my personal opinion. I don't think Forex has been well at all. Again, if you feel some type of way about it, again, that's my personal opinion. Like, you could say that indices have been terrible, but on my end, it's been great. So, I mean, I'm going to make the argument right now just because. But if somebody's telling you, again, this goes for all the people out there telling you these type of things. If somebody's telling you that this is a good area, this is a good time to be trading Forex, they're out of their mind. They're smoking crack. This is terrible. I don't care what anybody says. If you're trying to even just look for decent intraday swings, decent narrative direction, this is not it. That's not what you want to be trading in. It's a good example of when not to trade. Even Euro. To me, Euro has not been clean at all either. I mean, look at dollar index. What has dollar index been doing this year? Consolidation for a week on end, 2 weeks on end. You have one large expansion. Consolidation all last week. I mean, that's, I don't know. OT trader. If you type any capitalization, my bot deletes it. So, apologies. How it works. Yeah, I mean, it's, eventually it'll wake up and it'll start moving. I mean, there's always seasons. I mean, I'm sure index futures will move into that. We saw that last year. Like, I was trading throughout March, April, even May. I mean, index futures were not, they're in consolidation doing nothing. So, I mean, being able to be fluid, if you can adjust to different asset classes when one isn't trading well, I mean, I think that's a skill set. I'm not going to sit in consolidation. Like, if I was trading GU, I would not be trading that. There's no reason to sit through that for months on end. I mean, I'm here to make money, man. I'm not here to sit on my ass. So if something's not moving out, I can switch to a different asset class. These concepts work. They're the same thing in every asset class. So it's nothing like different. There's a few unique characteristics and things to certain asset classes, but like if for some reason that Forex was terrible, index futures were terrible, man, I could go trade oil. I could go trade corn, orange juice. I mean, we could trade anything. Bonds, yields. If something's moving with clear narrative, you want to place yourself in those markets. I don't see the reason to force yourself into a higher time frame where it's consolidating, doing nothing. I don't see the upside for that. I don't see the argument. It's like, sure, have fun in it, but I wouldn't want to do that. Again, there's nothing in here even from when this is the Silver Bullet Open. Have we done much? No. So I'm not eager to do something. Yeah, I mean, you could trade anything. I trade cattle stock. I mean, you could trade. There's so many future, contracts out there that are based off of legitimate, actual, tangible things. Water. I mean, if it gets to that point, then I'll trade it. Hardy, if you do copy trade, I want to work with you. I mean, I give away signals on here. It's not the point of these live streams, but yes, I mean, I don't let people copy trade my actual account. So that's what you're asking. I would be trading the shit out of Sin futures. Finn, that's again, you asked some good questions today. To be honest with you, that's a question that I've had. I haven't dived into stocks like that. That is a question that I'm sure can be answered throughout the community. To be honest with you, I haven't done enough research, but it's, those gaps in price, yeah, I've had the same discussion with other people. I'm not sure how I would approach that, to be honest with you. I mean, there's various ways, Raphael, to trade the silver bullet. Again, I mean, I look for... If you stick around here long enough, I'm not going to explain everything. You're going to figure out what the common theme is. I'm sure if somebody's been here this entire time, I'm sure they could probably reiterate exactly what I look for. Again, I mean, if we just keep drifting off lower in here, I'm not going to participate. I'm fine with that. Reason being is I'm not trying to catch a long in here. I'm not trying to catch a falling knife. And B, I'm not trying to short at a discount. We're inside of a brand new discount. I'm not trying to short in here at a very new low. It's my particular style. Doesn't mean it's not yours, but that's mine. I don't do that. Again, you have to understand what is my style versus yours. Also, Ghoul, are you in the chat? I just seen you sent me a message on your gifted account. That's awesome. Love to see that. Amazing. People putting their giveaway accounts to use, which is good. Yeah, it's okay, Raphael. If you just stick here long enough, you'll see. I mean, I can't say in one short sentence what I look for in a silver bullet. I mean, there's so many different, various, unique things I can look for on a particular day, depending on what it's doing. Cody, if we got to move lower through this recent low, creating FEG here, would you look for an entry? Again, it's just my particular style. I'm not trying to short at this discount. Like, even though I could potentially see price going to 17,466, if price dropped off lower, created a fair value gap, I'm not trying to short in there, because anytime you make a new low, anytime you move into a fresh discount, it can allow price on a little bit higher of a time frame, like a 5-minute, 15-minute, move into a short-term premium. Price could return into a short-term premium. It could move back into a premium. So I'm not trying to short down here, nor am I trying to catch a falling knife. Like, to me, it's just each side is low probability. The only way I do something is if we got some type of short-term premium retracement. If it doesn't, then I'm not doing anything. I particularly don't care. There's going to be times where you try to keep shorting and then it just has a short-term retracement higher and you get stopped out. And it's like, well, that was stupid. So throughout my years and throughout things I've done and the mistakes, that's just one of my rules is price has moved into a new discount, made a new low or high, whatever it is. I'm going to allow it to either move without me or it's going to retrace into a short-term discount or premium. Okay, yeah, looking at that. That would be interesting to see. I mean, it would be better for, in terms of intermarket relationships, it would be better if DXY actually moved off higher. That blue line is a old new week opening gap, which is not showing up on the 1 minute because it's too far back. Digital Nomad, I mean, if you're just looking at your dealing range from this high down to wherever the current low is, you're drawing your dealing range. Equilibrium's sitting here. So I see an inefficiency here. We got to a 15-minute time frame. There's an inefficiency here. So price could, doesn't have to, could just trade off lower right on the sell side. It could have a short-term retracement into a premium. Would I be looking to long that? Not particularly. That's not my style. I would rather just be in sync with whatever the narrative is. And if you're a contrarian person where you like to be the opposite of whatever everybody else or what flow is doing, you're gonna find yourself trying to pick tops or bottoms. Not saying it's bad or good. That's just your personality. It's not really mine. Do you think it'll trace after hitting the 50% of the new week opening gap? I don't. I wouldn't particularly know. It could. Would I be looking at the long down here? No. It's not my. There's not enough information. I mean, even Francis said that. I mean, there hasn't even been any displacement higher or anything to even probe me to go long. So, some early reaction before. Yeah. Help, I'm a gambler. I blew 2 challenges today. Well, what's the advice I want to give you? Do I want to be nice or do I want to be mean? Here's what I would say is immediately stop doing any challenges. Don't buy another one. Don't renew another one. Immediately stop. Immediately go back to either paper trading or just simply tape reading. And you have to do that for a while. You need to get out a journal. You need to figure out the certain characteristics and things that you're doing that are obviously not helping you succeed. You need to work on psychology more than you work on technicals. You need to discipline yourself. I mean, I've been there. Everybody's been there, but it's how should I say this? I mean, there's so much advice I could give to you, man. But all I know is that if you just work on yourself, you work on psychology, eventually you're gonna make it. I mean, you just have to. People are in this loop of continuously keep buying these challenge accounts, and they're like in this perpetual like casino loop. So I'm trying to like word that correctly. I would say if anything, just move to a live account, man. Move to a low amount of a live account and work on that. If any of you are in that loop of this casino belt of these prop firms, because I've been there myself, where you just keep resetting challenges, you keep buying new challenges. I mean, obviously that's not working. So most of you would be better off just putting money into a live account, and over the course of some years, you're gonna end up making more money and having a bigger account than you would have blown on challenges. Like, that would be my advice, honestly. I would move away from majority of prop firms unless you're really, really ready for it, and you actually see the investment, you see where you could do well. You need to be able to prove to yourself that you could trade in a live environment. Like with a live account, building it, not just, one-hit home runs and getting past a challenge and then making a small little payout. I mean, that's not success to me. Hawk, I don't know many people, to be honest with you. So in here, in hindsight, could I have shorted in here? I mean, this was moving right into the macro before silver bullet. I could have. But again, I could not, in real time, I could not see this large of an expansion. The only thing I could have seen was this low being traded to. So the risk to reward was not there. The overall probability for me was not there. So I don't beat myself up. There's nothing in here that would be like, man, I should have held on to that. No. Hindsight's so easy to trick you. It's so easy to trick your mind into believing things. You need to constantly remind yourself of what you're thinking in real time. And not that you should even change what you're thinking in real time. Sometimes you're very valid. I was completely valid on thinking, I'm not taking this trade because the risk reward isn't there, and the only thing I could see is that low being traded to. And from there, that was about 40 handles. And in hindsight, I can look at this and go, man, I could have held on to this whole trade. Like, CJ, why didn't I hold on to this? That's 100 handles. I didn't see that. Nor should I be seeing that. Will, I don't know if that's a joke or not. I don't know what that is. What is a horseshoe? What does a horseshoe do? Are there any horse socks? I'm so confused. I've been hitting the head with a horseshoe. What is your opinion about the 3 months ago I passed? Turner, that means that, I'm going to say this cold hard truth, you got lucky. You know, even in a casino, people get lucky, right? They get lucky with blackjack, spinning that wheel, whatever it is. Some people get lucky. That's a false belief. Obviously, reality in trading, that's the best part about it. It's always going to come back to you. It's going to show you exactly where you're at in your progress. I mean, it showed you that you weren't ready, that simply was luck, and you got paid out by luck. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's a good thing that you're able to see that you're able to make profits, but there's a huge distinguish between skill and luck. So to me, what I would say is move back to either just a small live account until you feel ready, you know, enough to move back into challenges, or, you know, just stick with a live account. Finn, I've never, everybody has their own unique things. I've never struggled with greed, to be personally honest with you. I've never have. I've always been somebody who's super content, especially in trading. Like, I've been always on the contrary. Is like I've always taken too little of profits, you would say, or just being super content with like the littlest amount, which is a good thing. As far as greed, I mean, there's things such as like you don't feel content enough. You're moving past your skill set. You're more ambitious than what your actual skill set is. There's a lot of things to greed. It's not money. You don't want more money. It's more or less either you don't feel content, or you believe that your skill set is more than what it really is, when in reality it probably isn't. Ryan, what's up, brother? It's all right. You don't have to chat in here. I know there's a lot of people in here that just watch. What time will I stop looking for a trade? I mean, the silver bullet hour that ends. Stuart, I mean, yeah. Fibs are great. I mean, I'm not saying that fibs are bad. I just don't particularly use them. I don't think a personally drawn thing like a trend line is another example. Those don't move the market, and there's just a lot of like there is symmetrical alignments between fibs and the market, but I think a lot of the time it's just a coincidence that price moves to a certain fib level. It's like, oh, I moved to -2 standard deviation. It's like, oh, yeah, It's cool, but if you probably look to the left of you, it probably just moved into an inefficiency or liquidity. What's up, FX Capo? I'm doing well, man. Yes, it is. Inner Circle J, good to see you in here. I mean, Tune, I'm not saying that that was all luck. I'm sure there was some skill set there. But I believe that if you blew that account, obviously there's a bit of luck in there, right? I mean, if that wasn't, if you had the skill set to maintain it, then it would have been blown. I mean, that may be harsh medicine to swallow, but that's the truth. I mean, technically, the reason I'm just looking at chat and talking a lot right now is, I mean, there's just nothing in here I'd be willing to participate in. Honestly, if I wasn't on live stream, I'd be off. I'd probably be off doing something else already. I'd be fine with that. I'd be content. I don't need to push things and do things all the time. I can just chill out. For all those just tuning in, we only got 230 likes. I know we've got about 600 viewers on here. If you guys can like the video if you haven't already, I would really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. Pushes my videos out to newer people. I would like to start getting to 1,000 viewers consistently, but I think that may be asking for a little bit much. I don't know. Finn, awesome to hear. Ghost, how to deal with your bias on point, but you either miss entry or price just moves too rapidly. I mean, if you miss an entry, if you miss, like, you had your bias on point and you just didn't execute on the fair value gap, I mean, that's something that you have to work on to figure out, all right, that's probably either has to do with fear. It's some type of emotion. So either it's a fear of being wrong, a fear of losing. So you need to figure out why that is. You know, uncover why you feel like you fear losing or fear of being wrong. Are you trying to be too perfect? Are you risking too much? Are you fear of losing money? What does money represent to you? Those type of things. What's your aha moment? Somebody asked me this last week. There's no ever aha moment in trading. You have a lot of aha moments. You have a lot of them that build up. It's very much like a faucet. You're trading, you're going to have, you know, just a small trickle. And it's going to be like that for a long time, maybe a few years, where it's just a small trickle effect, and eventually the faucet will open up. There's never one aha moment. There's never a clicking moment that makes all of this just poof into bliss and rainbows and sunshines. It never, sorry to pop your bubble, it never is that way. You'll see over a course of, you know, maybe after a few years, over the course of 3 to 6 months, you'll start rapidly increasing in your skill set and some things. I mean, to me, like, trading is like going to the gym for years on end, and you actually end up getting, like, when you look in the mirror, you're getting fatter. But then out of nowhere, you know, in 6 months and a year, you're going to rapidly turn into this, you know, jacked, ripped monster. So trading is very backwards to a lot of things that we do in life. It's very, very backwards. It's such a weird way of success and the way you arrive to it. But because in the face of all these things, like, you may be losing a lot, you're blowing accounts, but behind the scenes, your skill set's actually improving. You're actually doing better. You're improving, right? But in reality, and when you look at numbers and stuff like that, you're not actually doing well. So you have to look at things from two sides. It's a difficult task to do. I understand. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to go back in the chat. Turner, yeah, it's, again, psychology is the reason why I preach on it so heavily, because a skill set alone, like a model alone, I could have all these technical skills. I could tell you all where price is going all the time, but if I can't handle myself, I can't manage myself, I can't manage risk, I mean, it means nothing. All that work was for nothing. So I work on my psychology more than I work on technicals. That's the reason why you hear me preach about it so often, because I think it means so much, so much. I think somebody with very level. If somebody only knew a 2022 model but had extreme discipline, extreme psychology, and risk management, they would run laps around somebody who was a charter member, knew everything about the markets, but with poor psychology and risk management. They would run tenfolds. It wouldn't even be a competition. So there's some buy side here. This may be a short-term retracement back into a premium. Could I long in here? Possibly. The reason I'm saying that is because we do have a bullish S&P. Why I'm giving it a little bit of thought is really decoupled away from it. So NASDAQ took out that sell side. ES is not even near that low, so it's a pretty significant bullish S&P. But I would need to have some decent evidence in order for myself to particularly go long. Nico. The biggest aha moment is blowing 700 accounts and going, damn, this shit's hard. Robert, there's only 9. I know. Somebody asked me that yesterday. Thank you. I'll have to try to figure that out. There's only 9 videos. Everything on my YouTube is what's in the beginner course. That's actually a good question, Flight. Yes, was the mental game of trading your breakthrough? Honestly, like if I had to look back on it and go, what was like the biggest pivotal boom? All right. It wasn't like when I read the book, like everything changed. Like you have to understand that you're going to have aha moments that are like, all right, this is what I needed, but then you're going to have to work on it for another year or 2 years. So for me, that reading that book when I first opened it and I started reading about it, I was like, all right, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. This is exactly what I need. Because I couldn't figure out my own psychology. I couldn't figure out how to stop myself from tilting and doing dumb shit all the time. I couldn't figure it out. I tried my hardest. Like I was like, man, I have really good discipline. Like I'm outside of life and outside of trading. Like I'm in very exceptionally well shaped. Everything else in life is good discipline, but when it comes to trading, I couldn't figure it out. And that book was a big breakthrough for me. But then again, that breakthrough took another 2 years after I read it to finally start getting my shit together. So it's, again, breakthrough moments. It's going to be a moment, but that doesn't mean that exact moment is your breakthrough. It may take another year, it may take 6 months, a year, whatever, to finally figure it out. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, I think I hit that on Saturday or Friday. Man, I need to get an Amazon link, man. I need to do that. I recommend that book so much, man. I probably made Jared so much money, but you know what? He deserves it. Because I mean, I don't think for that book. I mean, I hate to say that. I definitely would have figured it out at one point, but that book really helped me, man. I mean, that was a lifesaver to me. John, I actually just did that this weekend. You have to copy an emoji from. I got it from, I believe, Telegram. You highlight it, you go copy, and then you paste it in here. So I made a little template. Otherwise, you'd have to go to this emoji and you have to manually place it every time, which I didn't like doing. It's in the chat, Andreas. It's Mental Game of Trading. I mean, I've stated the book hundreds of times, so I just feel like a broken record. If you're new here, I get it, but I mean, for the last 2 months, I've continuously have stated that book basically every day. Yeah, I mean, even my mod's getting upset saying it. I mean, it's a broken record here. So as we start to move off higher in here, I'm going to see if something would print. So what am I looking at here? Now we got above this high. What is this pattern in here? We have a low, a high, a lower low. If this closes, that's a higher high. So what's that up close candle? That would be your bullish breaker here. What are we doing? We're shifting. You could call it a shift in market structure, but I'm looking at energetically. Andres, you're good, brother. Accidental. Yeah, boredom is a huge issue as well. There's a section in the mental game of trading. Boredom is a huge issue for some people. You know, they just get bored. They want to do something. They just want to get some action. They want to get some dopamine. So there's some things that will help you in that book as well over that. I mean, man, if you read that book, man, you want to give the money to the dude because it's like, holy shit, dude, you just saved my career. So I'd give money to Jared again. I don't care. It's funny how psychology works across multiple platforms. I mean, he has a book over. He started in. It's called The Mental Game of Poker. So, psychology extrapolates to multiple things. I'm poor. I mean, yeah, I get it, but I think I believe in. I'm not gonna say anything. Jimmy, if you scroll up, you're gonna see the game, the title of the book. Why am I using? Somebody asked, why am I using this candle? Because this is the most recent swing low. I'm not looking at this. A, we haven't broken above it. B, this is the most recent swing, right? This low, that high, this low. That's the most recent swing points. So I'm utilizing that over this low, that high, and this low. I'm utilizing this. What's up, Timmy? Alex, are you referring to the beginner's course? I mean, that's it for the beginner's course. I mean, that's the reason I'd be hesitant. Again, this is my style. I'm not trying to pick a low, even though I see the bullish breaker, even though I see this fair value gap. If you've been sitting with me long enough, you understand I'm not trying to pick tops or bottoms. This saved me last week, this particular style. It saved me from taking multiple losses at trying to pick a low. What I like to see, especially if we're shifting, right, we're bearish and we're shifting to bullish, I'm looking to see, all right, can price expand? We shifted market structure. There's a bullish PD array, a couple things in here. Can we get a reaction off of that? Then can price displace away, still leaving a drawn liquidity? And then can I find basically the second stage in here? That's my particular style. I'm not somebody to pick a bottom. It's not me. I don't like doing it. So even though I can see it, even though it's there, again, it's my style, my personality. I have to remind people of that over and over again. But if you compare ES to NQ right now, ES has failed to make a lower low in here. So where February 13th, NASDAQ got underneath this low and ES is relatively far away from it, right? Yeah, I mean, I just follow whatever ICD. I mean, it's imprinted in my mind now. Not to pick tops or bottoms. I mean, even as a more experienced trader, it's just not something I like to do, and I'm content with that. It saved me a lot of losses. Last week there was this similar setup. If you guys remember, it was on I think Wednesday. There was multiple people trying to kept longing, and they just kept getting repetitively stopped out. It saves me a lot. I've taught the exact model of the last 25% into a draw on liquidity, how easy that is. I showcased it Friday. You may not get the best, points and the best reward, but it saves you a lot of headache and secures. So in here, either this is outright reversal on a higher time frame, this is outright reversal, or this is simply a retracement back into a premium to sell off again. So I have to be aware of both of those factors. We have about 10 minutes left of the session here, so we're moving into the end of Silver Bullet Macro, which is 10:50 to 11:10. So this 20-minute little window in here, we're moving into that. So we've had a nice reaction off of this. If we dip down into that, I probably would have been willing to enter because I've seen that price has reacted off of bullish PD raise. We're inside of a decent time now. So let's set a limit here. It'd be underneath this second fair value gap there. Be looking to target this probably premium fair value gap there. Are you religious? Yes, I am. Thank you, Daniel, if I didn't already cover that. I appreciate it. Looks like we may tag my limit here, which is good. Scan through a couple other time frames. Everything looks decent. I mean, digital nomad, I don't know what DR50 means. Or 50 DR. Andreas, very good. I mean, I don't want to go into a deep discussion about religion and God, but yes, I believe very much people that believe in God, believe in something out there, for the good of humanity and good for you. I mean, I don't see how that would be a negative. Yes, I'm trading on my funded account. So there's the position on here. I actually have to adjust. I don't know, those limits are different. interesting. I don't know why that was like that. I apologize. I don't think you can hear those noises, but you might. It's me adjusting all that. Yeah, Andres. I mean, if you want to talk personally, and DM me on Twitter, man. Alex, yes, he is. Probably take a partial off above the buy side there. Awesome, Andreas. I'd love to hear that. Accidental. You're funny. My target would be this buy side here. I'd take a partial off, and then I'd be looking for this higher premium inefficiency. So on the 5-minute, we have that premium inefficiency, and then the 15-minute, we have that one. Inversion's sitting there. I'd be content with even just the buy side being ran to. I don't even know if I want to say this. That's such a grave. I would say that's a mistake. I was trading not micros, which I planned on trading. I'm trading actual NQ contracts. So I placed 5 NQ contracts, not 5 micros. So yeah, I was up about $2,100 right there. I just collapsed basically 4 positions of that. That is insane. That's what happens when you're not paying attention. I mean, with the stop loss of that, I would have taken $500 loss. That would have not been good. That's a grave error on my just not my app, to be honest with you. Even though I'm in profit, that's what happens when you're not paying attention. I mean, I would like to believe some of that's due to live streaming. I mean, what can I really say? Yeah, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take up another one and move my stops to break even. I mean, I'm in the position, so it's like, you know. But yeah, I think I just made $2,000. Yeah. Happy Monday, I guess. Some people are gonna sit here and be like, oh, "See, I told you it was terrible." I mean, again, I'm also live streaming, so I have a lot of things on my mind I'm dealing with. That's definitely a. Again, I'm not gonna classify that as a win. I would go into my journal and actually criticize myself a lot for that. Because on the flip side, I could have easily just taken a significant loss right there. And again, I'm gonna be transparent with all of you. I mean, that's I'm not gonna sit here and hide. So at least on this paper trading position, that limit's about to be hit. You can move your stops to break even. I know some of you don't even care about my own position. You're like, oh, you just made me money. So win-win for all of us, I guess. Yeah. So it's getting back up into this premium inefficiency there. See if it wants to tag the 15-minute. I mean, you could be out of the full position already. I'm going to collapse my live one. I'm happy with that. I mean, up to here was at 46 handles, 50 handles basically. Either you could take out of the full position, move your stops into profit, whatever you'd like, however you want to manage it. How do you know that breaker is not going to be retraded into? Because if price already trades into the breaker or trades in as inefficiency, then every single PD array should be respected. It should want to carry on with that order flow. And here's what I would do. I'd move my stop loss into profit. So there's a inefficiency here. Should respect that. If not, then I'm stopped at plus break even, and that's all that matters to me. JP, yeah. I'm gonna have to look at how much I just made, to be honest with you. I mean, I could do it on stream. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, so I was resting at, if you looked at my Twitter post, I was resting at 1,300. So I was at $1,300 in profit, so I just made 2,300. Again, I'm not proud of that. That's not something that some people would be freaking out like, holy shit, that's not something I'm extremely happy about, to be honest with you. But again, if you get lucky, you do something wrong and you make money, it's not good. I need to go to my journal and be like, all right, dude, like when you're on live stream, pay attention to what the hell you're doing. Pay attention to the asset class you're trading. So, I mean, again, it's very, very tricky on this. I mean, when I'm looking at this, all I saw was NQ. So again, I have to make sure that I'm looking at on this platform. Like, I need to be on the micros, but yeah, I can blame on me live streaming and not being focused, which, I mean, again, that is a reality, but I'm very hard on myself, so that's a error. Andreas, I appreciate that. Like, oh yeah, I know some people would be freaking out. Like, that's not even something I'm going to post on Twitter and be like, look how much money I made. I mean, that's not it, man. Again, you could have took the full position off here. I mean, I did on my live account, so it's just paper trading, just for the example of, like, if you want to trade up into this inefficiency here, all right, where am I moving my stops? Well, I'm not going to keep it at break even because, A, we moved up into this reclaimed SIBI, so it could move off of this, right? So where am I placing my stop? I'm placing my stop at this bullish PD array. If it's truly bullish, it should support price in order to go higher. So my stop loss in profit should be moved to here. And I mean, I'm going to try to target at least the CE of this. And if not, then I'm stopped in profit. I protected myself. I took a partial here. So you want to be always taking partials, protecting yourself, doing all the things that make sense, right? Abraham, that's a great question. I think it's fantastic. It's a great error and mistake that I made throughout my career, was being so self-critical. I mean, I'd be so harsh. If you saw the way I talk to myself, you'd be like, damn, bro, like, chill out. Because all that's going to come back to you in your trading. If you're extremely self-critical, which high performers are. If you're a high performer, somebody who wants success, we're very self-critical. But in trading, you have to be careful with that because it will come back into your trading. Like if you take a loss and you're super self-critical, you're not giving yourself leeway to understand that you are human. You're going to make mistakes. You're not perfect. And that's the cold, harsh reality of trading. And B, if you're your best cheerleader, you're cheerleading yourself, you're self-positive, you're constructive in the way you give criticism, it's going to come back in your trading in a very positive way. It's something that I wish I did earlier, and ICT made me realize that. He's like, you need to stop being so mean to yourself because nobody else is supporting you. I mean, who else is your mom, your dad, your friends? Nobody else is sitting with you. Nobody else is supporting you. You're your own person in this whole trading thing. I mean, you're the only person that's going to make this work or fuck it up. I mean, so you have to be your biggest cheerleader, and obviously you have to be, a good critical person. Do you trade afternoons? No. Andreas, I'll show it at one point or another. Again, I don't even really like talking about money. I mean, it's not the fact that I'm trying to hide away from, how much money I make. I just don't think it's relative in terms of helping somebody. Like, somebody asked me that yesterday, and I was going to comment back, but I didn't. I was like, does the money I make, does that improve your trading? No, it doesn't. And the only thing that that proves transparency is sitting in a live environment, trading, showing you guys execution, which I've done for the last 2 months. I mean, that to me, anybody can fake payouts, anybody can fake broker statements. So to me, this is the most authentic, transparent way to show you can trade. And it's funny, ICT never showed a track record. ICT was always on paper trading, but everybody believes him because you can see the proof is in the pudding. It's right there. It's in your face. So and somebody could be making very little money, but have an exceptional skill set. I mean, somebody can be, making $50 in a week, $100, depending on their account size, and they're an exceptional trader. They just may not have access to a large amount of funds. So you have to look at through that lens and that scope too. So there's me being stopped out in profit. You could have took the whole position off, but I just want to showcase the idea of if you wanted to keep pushing for a higher idea, you would have to have this area respected. Otherwise, there's no reason for me to keep, my stop loss at break even. I'm giving up all that yardage. I'm giving up that percentage, and there's no reason to. And I was able to take a partial out in here, above the buy side, ran into this inefficiency here, and then sold off. Just Trey, I appreciate that. Yeah, I try to, emphasize mindset, psychology way more than tacticals. Roosta, you're an amazing student, brother. I mean, I pay attention to what you say a lot, and it means a lot. You're very studious and paying attention to the real gems, and take notes from him. I mean, I don't even think you trade NQ. Christian, awesome to hear. Yeah, exactly, Justin. TC, yeah. I mean, he never showed you his house, never showed you his cars. I mean, he has over the last couple of years here, but I never cared about that anyways. I never cared about most people that flex cars, flex money, flex houses. I mean, they're hiding their skill set. Like I don't care about that. Sit down in a live environment and show me that you can trade. ICT didn't even do this, and I still believed him. I mean, if you can't believe that I can trade sitting down here with me like this, I mean, you're just blind. I don't know what you're doing. Uh, Kisher, appreciate that. Rabi, thank you. Evelyn, awesome here. Awesome here. Eric, thank you. Yeah, I bet they do. I hope I can trade EU one day when things get right for me personally to trade EU. I'd love to trade it with you. One of my rules is not to trade against the trend, so I watch. But hey, and again, that's nothing wrong with it. Don't feel any type of emotion. You did what your system told you to do, and that was the right thing in your system. So don't feel any type of way just because I took a trade. That's a job well done. Congratulate yourself, Bobby. Yeah, I hope so one day. I mean, I've been on here for 2 months. He still hasn't, so I don't know. I mean, we're at 700 viewers. There's no way he's not seeing this. I'll sit with you guys for like another minute just to answer some last questions. Cody, my brother. Oh, I'd love to see your name in here. Awesome. I know you did. Good to hear. How long have I been an ICT charter? I joined in 2021, so 3 years. Yeah, feel good. I mean, that's exactly where I started the course, just particularly for those who are just getting into trading. So I start out with the very, very bottom of like, what is trading, candlesticks, time frames, all that good stuff. The only thing you may need to help somebody who's newer is like with TradingView, setting that up for them. I didn't go over all that. I mean, I'd recommend a TradingView, but I don't really have time to, go over TradingView and set that up. Yeah, if you guys can like the video, I appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. I appreciate all the new viewership. I see we're hovering around 700 viewers, so I appreciate everybody in here. I mean, if you guys got any more questions, I'll answer it, but I think that's going to wrap it up. We're at the end of the silver bullet. I wouldn't push anything else if you're looking to trade. I wouldn't push anything else for the rest of at least the session, maybe PM, see what's happening. But my rule is if I catch a trade in the AM session like we did today, then I'm done for the day. There's no reason for me to push beyond, what I'm doing. Have I thought of doing intermediate course? I mean, maybe. Beginner is probably, that was enough to do. I mean, that took me 2 months to build a beginner course. What was the platform? It's called Quant Tower Inner Circle J. As always, Roberto, thank you. Bobby, not really, no. I mean, again, I'm keep a lot of things to myself. I mean, obviously, I'm on social media so people can see it, but family, loved ones around me I don't talk too much about it. Thanks for trade. Yep. Lil Wazy, good to see you, brother. I'm sorry if I didn't mention you. I always love seeing your name in here. What made you confident to switch long with a bearish bias today? Well, SMT. I could see that we were shifting, right? We were shifting. This is shifting order flow from, if we're inside of a fresh new discount, at a very bottom of a discount, taking out a low, there's bullish SMT. I at least know if price is going to retrace, either this is an outright reversal or price is retracing into a short-term premium to sell off. So if I can see that we're shifting market structure, and particularly we're shifting from bearish order flow to bullish, breaker is a very good determination of that. We're respecting a fair value gap in here, so that's my first signal. I see that. I didn't take it because I wanted to see it, respect it, displace higher, leave a fair value gap. All right, I have everything in line. Take the trade, put my take profits where they're logically supposed to be placed, and that was that. Lil Wazy, I think most definitely it's sizing down when you're losing, sizing down when you're in drawdown. It's extremely difficult to do that, obviously, as we all know. But I mean, if you haven't already, ICT has a video over called risk management. I'm sure you watched it, bro. But yeah, I think taking a loss, cutting it in half, aiming to make back half of your previous loss. I mean, that's the biggest risk management tip you could possibly give somebody. I mean, sticking with the same risk, trying to shoot for the same thing over and over again, it's going to dig yourself into a hole if you have a terrible win rate. I mean, it's just the truth. Seasonal tendencies, I don't look at them, to be honest with you. I think the chart will already tell me what the seasonal tendencies are going to do. That's just me personally. Harris, I appreciate you. Yeah, you will. What was your thinking behind picking the stop loss? Well, I want to put it underneath this inefficiency here, and I want to put it, for me particularly, I can place two. If there's two bullish PD arrays in proximity, I at least want to place it underneath one, and if I can get two, maybe three, that's what I want to do. Because, there's a couple lines of defense. It may have traded through this one and gotten into this inefficiency and maybe the top of the breaker, and at least I was protecting myself. Again, stop losses are personal, but I recommend placing at least, obviously, underneath one bullish or bearish PD array, and if you can do two or three, that's preferred. Yusuf, I have a video on my YouTube called Charter Member Models where you can see my models that I trade. All right, that's going to be it for today. I'm not going to answer any more questions. I appreciate everybody being in here. I really do. If you guys can like, subscribe, share the video, get it out there. I really would love a little bit more traction. Not that I'm not grateful. I'm very grateful and appreciative of everybody in here, but it'd be cool to get new eyes on me, right? Get ICT in here one of these days. That's going to be it for today. I appreciate all of you, and have a good rest of your day.